Brian Thompson, he is still a human being, you know, like nobody should kill anyone really. But yeah, he is still a human being. He still has a family, as does Luigi.
This week marks 1 year since United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was gunned down in New York City. And this morning, we're giving a voice to this victim as his accused killer, Luigi Mangione, returns to court for a pretrial hearing. Thompson was gunned down on December 4th of last year as he walked in Manhattan. The suspect fled the scene. 5 days later, Mangione was arrested inside of a Pennsylvania McDonald's after patrons recognized him from media coverage. His attorneys are now trying to get certain evidence thrown out because they say that he was not read his Miranda warnings before being questioned, and that his backpack was searched without police having a warrant to do so. In court on Thursday, video and testimony show that Mangione told officers he didn't want to talk, but police kept questioning him. Nearly 20 minutes passed before police informed him of his right to remain silent. Let's bring in our power panel and talk about this case and whether any of this evidence is going to be excluded from the trial. I have attorney guests Joe Tamburino and Randy Kessler and retired NYPD detective Tom Smith. Joe, let me start with you with criminal procedure and process. This is what you're doing every day. Tell me, do you see some concerns that the state of New York may have here?
Good morning, Julie. Thanks for having me on. No, I really don't. I've read Mangione's, I think it's 53-page brief. And, the issue about Miranda, even if the judge agreed that Miranda should have been read earlier and he's going to suppress statements, Mangione really didn't say anything that's earth-shattering. There are no smoking guns in his statement in that McDonald's restaurant. But I really don't see that as an issue. In terms of the search of his backpack, I don't see that as an issue as well. In their brief, they didn't even mention the seminal cases, Schimmel, Gant, Davis, and his backpack was 6 feet away from him. So I think the judge is going to uphold that as what's called a search incident to arrest. So he might have an argument in Miranda, but even if he wins that, it doesn't really affect the case. And there's no way he's going to win the search warrant in terms of, and the lack of a search warrant in terms of searching his backpack.
Oh, Joe, interesting. Hot take, hot take. Thank you so much for all of that. I want to show a couple things to you all here about the date in the McDonald's. We have a little bit of information here. So Luigi Mangione was having a conversation with the officers. The officer says he was eating a hash brown. They made some small talk about a steak McMuffin. The officer is heard asking Mangione, do you know what all this nonsense is about? Mangione replies, we're going to find out, I guess. And then that's when he false IDs then. He false IDs, and then the officer's like, oh, if you don't give us your correct name, we can arrest you. And then when he properly identifies himself, then some things are found. We've got some bus tickets in his pocket that are found. We know that he was at the Drexel station at 1:06 p.m., went from Philly to Pittsburgh, 1:55 p.m. The name was Sam Dawson, so apparently went to some lengths to protect his identity there. We got a folded up note also found in his pocket with a checklist that included the December 8th Best Buy, USBS digital camera, water bottles, and a trash bag. Okay, so this is some evidence we didn't previously know about that was found. Randy Kessler, what do you think? How bad is this evidence found on Luigi Mangione?
I think it's piling on, right? I think you don't need it, but prosecutors want to have everything they can. This is a case they can't afford to lose, right? You got something this high profile, you want to have every single thing you can. It also is one more stack of cards to say, look, you really want to go to trial in case anything gets thrown out, in case the Miranda issue comes up, in case your discussions at McDonald's don't come up. We don't need that, and I don't think they do need it, Julie. I think that they got enough. Sure, it helps. You couldn't convict just on what he had. He had a to-do list that he had to buy trash bags. In and of itself, big deal, but combined with everything else, it's piling on, and it helps the prosecution.
Great points, Randy. I want to play a clip for you. This is the police officer who's been described as a rookie officer in Altoona, Pennsylvania, talking about how he identified the suspected gunman.
As soon as he was wearing a blue medical mask. As soon as we pulled that down, or we asked him to pull it down, me and my partner and I recognized him immediately, just from what we saw in the media with photos, videos. We just didn't even think twice about it. We knew that was our guy.
Okay, Detective Smith, the police are getting some criticism because after the identification, they're reading him his Miranda warnings, but saying that he's not in custody. And then they proceed to search the backpack, and somebody pipes up, and it's caught on camera that we should maybe get a warrant for that, but too late. They already found that gun, that 3D printed handgun, in his journal, where he talked about wanting to whack CEO of a healthcare company. Detective, do you see anything wrong with what the police did and how they did it?
No, I don't. I actually think they did a magnificent job with staying calm. They didn't rush in there, you know, their guns drawn, thinking who he might be. They walked in, they had a great tactical position on him. He's sitting down in a corner. They're standing above him and just having a conversation. I think they did a great job. And as far as the backpack goes, that backpack was going to get searched anyway, as Joe said, as incidental to an arrest. It's all going to get vouchered no matter what was in there. And it being so close to him, you want to check for weapons because this individual is accused of a murder with a handgun. You know, so you have to be ready and prepared for that handgun still being on him. But I don't think they did anything wrong in this case.
I appreciate your insight on this, Detective. We know this is a New York case. We know where this is going to be tried, both in state and in federal court in New York. Joe, tell me, this defense team, they are being very, very forceful, thorough, methodical with everything. Is there anything that you think they've raised that has any teeth here?
No, not really. And they have to be forceful and methodical because this is a death penalty case. In fact, Pam Bondi, the Attorney General of the United States, within 2 months of Mr. Thompson's murder, classified this as a death penalty case. So whenever you get a death penalty, of course, you know, you scrutinize it even a lot more than just some regular case or a case even with life imprisonment because it involves death. So this defense team really has to do everything they can. They have to object to everything. They have to put motions on everything. So this is par for the course. But I agree with what's been said and what I said earlier. The search of his person, the search of the backpack, it is search incident to arrest. It could also be what's called exigent circumstances because they're arresting someone who supposedly just murdered someone, you know, not only with intent, but premeditation likely. And so I don't think that search is going to be suppressed. And with Miranda, again, even if the judge thought, well, Miranda should have been done earlier, nothing was said that's earth-shattering. The government still has a very, very strong case against Mr. Mangione.
Joe Tamburino, Detective Tom Smith, Attorney Randy Kessler, thank you much. Stand by, please. We're going to hit a break, and as we go to break, we want to remember the victim. You know, there's so much talk about this case, and it's all focused on Luigi Mangione, so we want to focus on Brian Thompson. His life mattered. His friends called him BT. He was married and leaves behind 2 little boys. Our hearts go out to them as they're still mourning his death.